I'm good to go. Today we're going to talk about crafting your call to action. And I want to talk about this. This is really important to me because this is how I feel most podcast audiences feel, where there's so many call to actions in a podcast that most just don't know what to do, right? When you present somebody with too many options, they're going to pick none of them. And so this probably sounds familiar, right? If you liked this episode, be sure to rate us and review us on iTunes, sign up for our mailing list, be sure to check out our sponsors, and share this with a friend. Or if you don't listen to iTunes, share it or rate it and review it in whatever app you listen to. And that's just unclear, especially if someone's half paying attention. And so I think you need a single and clear call to action. And if you've seen, this is what I talked about on the webinar, right? So if you attended that webinar or you watched it later, this is the really important thing to me, right? So, and this is what we're going to hash out. And then at the end, I'm going to talk to you about how you can kind of cheat and have multiple calls to action in a single call to action. But really what you want to do at the beginning and end of every episode is tell your audience that one thing to do. And it's really important to do it at the beginning and the end, because at the end, you're losing audience. At the beginning, they're all there and they are ready to listen. So they're probably not going to skip over your main call to action. So today's agenda, we're going to talk about what is a good call to action, some ideas for a call to action, and then we'll spend about 10 minutes working on our call to action and then trading notes. Since there are multiple people here today, we could totally do that, which is exciting. And then we'll talk about how to implement it with a landing page. So that's like, spoiler alert, I think you should have a landing page at the very least, but we'll dig into all of that. I guess since both of you are here, or since there's more than one of you here this week, what have there been any effective calls to action for you from podcasts that you listen to?
Maybe going back to listen to different episodes that were related to the topic.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. That's probably what I click on the most. Or if there is like even like a infographic or something to go along with what's being taught in the podcast.
Nice. So like we're going to
talk. Or if there's a
yeah.
guest, like learn more about the guest sort of thing. Those are probably all the calls to action I've clicked on.
Awesome. That makes sense, right? Like, especially if it's like supplementary material, right? Oh, we're going to talk about how to get sponsors. And right. If you want like my sponsor pitch templates, go here, right? And
right.
Cool. Tom, what about you?
Yeah, pretty much the same. I often will join the newsletters that they talk about, just because I figure, well, that's the way to get all the info or to be reminded about things.
Nice. Yeah, I dig that. And that's really what we're going to talk about that today, right? Because like, it's one thing to say like, join the mailing list, right? But it's another reason to like incentivize people to join the mailing list. So what is a good call to action? A good call to action is a single, super clear action, like you have good old Sheev Palpatine saying here to Anakin, right? He's saying, do it. And then Anakin does it. Anakin does the thing that Sheev Palpatine wanted. I don't know if you know that the Emperor's name is Sheev. It was like exposed in a book, in an extended universe book.
No, I didn't know it was Sheev.
Well, now you know, and now I feel like it makes it a little less cool. But anyway, a single super clear call to action. And the reason that you want the single super clear call to action, I think we've talked about this before in this cohort, is you probably only have like half the attention of your audience, right? They're probably doing something else while listening to your podcast. And so if you ask them to do too many things, even if they have the best intentions, they're probably going to forget to do all of those things, or they're going to forget to do any of them. So if you tell them repeatedly, hey, do this by going here. Hey, I'm interviewing this person today. If you want to ask questions in advance, get on my mailing list and then you'll see who the upcoming guests are. Do that here. Or if you want to listen to another episode that's a really good pairing to this, go here. Make sure to go here. So it should be a single, super clear call to action. And the other, if it's going to be single, right? You're probably wondering like, what should it be then, right? Because there are a lot of calls to action. So how do I determine what the call to action is going to be? Now, since this is a mini podcast cohort that we're talking about, right? Your mini podcast is all about establishing your authority and getting people to take action based on what you know in order to grow your business, right? This is really what the whole thing's about. A mini podcast should be, my friend Brian was producing this event, and he was sending me some good tidbits from the event. And one of the speakers mentioned that a podcast is okay discovery, but really good nurture, like really good nurturing content. And so your mini podcast is that, right? People find out who you are, they start listening to your podcast, and then you use that to establish your authority with them and get them to do something. So you pick your call to action by looking at your mission statement first. That's why I made that week 1, because it's the driver for everything else, from your content to your call to action to how you're eventually going to make money, and how you can best serve your audience, right? So if you say, that your mission is to help other therapists, physical sports therapists, get results faster, right? Maybe your call to action is check out like this PDF that I give check out this chart that I give my patients or my client. I don't know. Is patient the right nomenclature there? Anna?
Yeah, it'd be like other providers, like
okay.
Other
right.
professionals.
Okay. Yeah, so check out this thing that I give them, right? Or Tom, if it's cybersecurity, right? Maybe it's check out this this local thing I made to help you like grade your password, right? Because like there are websites that let you put it in, but I'm always suspect of those, even though they all say they're safe.
Right.
But or like check out these top 10 tips to get started with one password or whatever your password manager. I forget the name of the one that you like to use is. But something like that, right? Because that's again in the service of your audience, right? Or if it is to get more questions or get more ideas to help them because you're not really sure what questions they have, then make it, hey, ask a question. Hey, email me at this, or hey, go to this form and write in a question. It could be anonymous, or you can include your name and I'll read your name out loud. So, based on your mission, pick how you can best serve your audience and then choose the action that they should take to help you serve them, right? So, if it's going to be, hey, here's this thing that's really going to help you solve the problem you have, great. Or if it's, hey, I want to make the best content possible for you, write in your questions and I will answer them. Then, that could be another. Or if your shows are always resource heavy, then you can always direct them to a show notes page too, which that was always my favorite. I've changed my mind, and this is like the first recorded thing I'm doing where I've changed my mind. So this is like brand new information coming at you in this cohort. Now I've created a chart. You may have seen this before in a different format, but what I think are good or bad calls to action, right? So a good call to action is singular, easy to complete. So notice I use ORs here, right? Tom, you're probably familiar with the logical operators, right? Or is one of these makes the whole statement true, and is they all have to be true. So or is pick one of these, right?
Right.
Join the mailing list at link, or check out the show notes, or write in and ask a question, or share with a friend, right? Those are good calls to action as a singular thing, right? Too many, and again, this is what most podcasters do, rate and review us on iTunes. First of all, it's not iTunes anymore, it's Apple Podcasts, so you want to use the right terminology. And subscribe in whatever podcast player you use. Most are not listening on the web. And be sure to check out the thing in the link at this link and look at the show notes and join the mailing list and share with a friend. Those are all things that are going to get lost in the weeds, right? People are not going to pick the one that they like the best. They're just going to be like, that was too many, and they're going to move on to their next podcast, right? Especially if you shove it all at the end like most podcasters do, you're probably not going to get a good return on that call to action. I think, if I haven't shown my hand too much already, I think join my mailing list is the best call to action. Do I have a supplementary slide on this? No. Okay. So I'm just going to talk through this. Join my mailing list is the best one, I think, because first of all, podcasting can feel like a one-way street, where you're not, it's not an open conversation. There's no comments unless you have them on your website, right? But like, there's not a comment section in every single one of the podcast apps, right? Where you get to see the comments that people are writing. It's not like a blog or a YouTube channel in that way. So podcasting feels like a very one-way street. But if people join your mailing list, now you get to increase engagement, right? Recently, I tweeted and I sent out on my mailing list 5 better ways to gauge podcast success than downloads. And mailing list was my number one, because it's people are opting into what you're saying, and they can get reminded of when new episodes come out, but then you can form a relationship with them outside of those episodes, right? Because you're hitting their mailbox every week, and they may not check their podcast player every week, or they may not care about the topic for that week or whatever. And so the mailing list, I think, is the best way to form that relationship. Also, in the mailing list, you can have those multiple calls to action. Now, newsletter people will tell you that like you should still have one action that you want people to take. But it could change from week to week, right? It doesn't need to be as repetitive as on a podcast, right? So maybe one week or for a couple of weeks, it could be something like, hey, I really am like trying to increase my rating in Apple Podcasts. Can you just click on this link and give me a rating in Apple Podcasts? Apple Podcasts is the important one because that drives a lot of discovery or whatever, right? So your mailing list could be a gateway for all the other actions you want people to take. And that's why I think it's really important. The other thing I'm going to say here is you should, like I said before, you should say it at the beginning and at the end. Next week, we're going to sign up for our Buzzsprout accounts. I'm not going to force you, but I strongly recommend Buzzsprout because they have those pre and post roll dynamic content insertion, right? So we'll look at that next week, but this basically allows you to record your episodes without a call to action and then bolt it on to the beginning and the end. I will say, right, probably mention it at some point throughout the episode, right? Oh, by the way, you can get more of this on my mailing list, right? But as far as your call to action goes, right, say it at the beginning and at the end. Especially at the beginning, I usually do like hey, real quick before we get started, I want to tell you about this free resource I have where you can get my exact pitch deck and emails that I send to sponsors that has made me $50,000 a year in sponsorships. So sign up for my mailing list and you'll get that for free, right? And that, right, I hooked you. I saw Anna look up at that point, right, when I said $50,000. That hooks you right at the beginning, and it tells you why you should sign up, right? So make sure to say it at the beginning and at the end, because people are going to fall off at the end, and so you want to catch them at the beginning. Okay, so now it's your turn, right? Take 10 minutes. I'll put like easy listening music or something like that on. And think of a call to action for you. I'm going to ask you to script it. It doesn't have to be long, right? It could be a couple of sentences. But it should work for every episode and should serve your mission and your audience, right? So again, I just gave you my example. I probably should. Maybe I'll put it in writing on the screen so that you can kind of see while you're working on yours. But mine is, hey, real quick before we get started, I want to tell you about this free resource I have. Currently, it's called the Podcast Booster Blueprint. So it's called the Podcast Booster Blueprint. If you want to launch a profitable podcast this resource is for you. It's going to come with planners and I think it's an email course. So planners and the best ways to grow your audience. Sign up at, I need to update it, right? It's sign up at makemoneypod.com/blueprint and to get your free copy today. And that's it. So I'll write that out in the 10 minutes, but it should be, what is it? Why should they do it? And where can they do it? And we'll talk about the where can they do it in a minute. But all right, yeah, that'd be great. Thanks.
Do you want me to? Well, I guess I can just read it. It says, hey, real quick before we get started, I wanted to share a free resource I have to help you get better outcomes for your clients. The Visceral Referral Cheat Sheet will teach you the connections between common musculoskeletal aches and pains and the organs that may influence movement dysfunction or pain. Using this cheat sheet will allow you to make sure no stone is left unturned when creating a true whole body treatment plan of care.
Nice. I like that. Yeah. We'll get into where you can send people in a minute.
Oh, right.
But yeah, I would definitely have like include it in the show notes. Right. I didn't say this, but include it in the show notes, but definitely have a speakable URL as well, just in case someone's like not, you know, I like to have both. I don't have any data on behavior, you know,
right.
But
yeah, it's good to cover your bases. Yeah.
Yeah. And we'll
talk at the end, be like, so head to, movementrub.com/cheat sheet. Yeah. Yeah. That's perfect. Yeah. Or click the link in the show notes. In the show notes. Yep. That's perfect. Cool. Yeah. Yep. And, another great thing about Buzzsprout is they'll make it really easy for you to do that too. So cool. I mean, we'll go through their features next week, but, yeah, it's a really easy thing for them to do as well. Tom, what about you?
Well, it's very much in the same vein as both of yours, but a lot shorter. I'm not a very wordy kind of guy, but it's before we get into this week's show, I want to tell you about a free checklist of the things that you should be doing to secure yourself online. You can get it for free at coachingsecurity.com/checklist.
Nice.
And it's in the show notes, etc.
Yeah. I like the URL. /checklist is great. Tom, I would maybe list like one or two benefits. You probably have like 30 seconds, right? Like 30 to 60 seconds. Before like people start to lose interest. So I would just say like this checklist is going to show you like not only how to make secure passwords, but also how to make sure people aren't stealing your credit cards or something like that, right? Like how to make sure you're not going to get scammed on a website that's asking you for your credit card. Just like, you know, one of those like little scare tactic things, because you need that moment to be like, you need people to have that moment to be like, oh yeah, I need that, right? Like, oh, I definitely want to double check that. Because like I used to just have like here's your podcast workbook, and people would hear work and be like, I don't want this. So.
Okay, great. Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah. And I think you had that, right? You kind of had like these are the things to get, better outcomes for your clients.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Cool. Yeah. So, and I know like, neither of your calls to actions like, risk this, but, it's easy for me to drone on a little bit, right? So that's one of the few things I do script on my show.
Yeah.
Because I do want to try to keep it like 30, no more than 60 seconds. Because people want to get to the meat of it. I used to model my like sponsor reads and my calls to action off of Relay FM. They produce a lot of my favorite podcasts like Cortex, Upgrade, Mac Power Users, and Connected are all from this same network. And the Pen Addict. And their ad reads are like basically conversations in the middle of the show, especially on the Pen Addict. Like it's Mike and Brad, and Mike will do like the whole ad read. And then Brad will add like his like 3-minute thoughts. So I thought, oh yeah, people probably like conversational, but I think it probably works like really well for that show. I found better return on my investment with both my call to action and my sponsor reads when I shorten them to a minute. Because like people like after a minute, people are like, okay, skip. So cool. Great. I hope that was helpful for you all.
Yeah.
If you are watching the replay, feel free to drop the script in the comments. And what I'll probably do is put it in a Google Doc or something and like leave my notes there for you. Also, and Tom, if you want to do that, if you feel free to do that, if you want to like get my thoughts in writing. And then again on the slide, I did add, what a mess. I did add my script here. So the slides will be available if you want to reference this as well. But again, it covers everything, right? Before we get started, with the podcast booster blueprint, you will attract and keep your ideal listeners, skyrocket your downloads, start making money. And then, like I said, I need to update this because Make Money Podcasting is officially the Profitable Podcaster. So now it's profitablepodcaster.fm. Even though I think I was telling at least one of you I would never pay the $80 for a .fm, I did it because the .com was taken. And I really like that name. So anyway. All right. So now there's that blank slide I added. Well, we just had feedback time. So let's talk about a landing page. Obviously we just talked about having a URL for people to go to, an easily speakable URL. And I think that this is really important because people, like I said, they're listening. And if you say the URL and also mention it's in the description, you're going to increase the likelihood that people are going to take action. You want it to be as easy as possible for people to take action on what you're asking them to do. So the other thing with a landing page is that it's a way to get multiple requests into one call to action, right? So maybe you do want them to join your mailing list, but also subscribe to the show, but also rate and review. And you can structure your landing page to have the main action on top and then like a bunch of other things, right? Because people are probably going to scroll and see what else is on this page. So I like on my landing pages to have the mailing list URL or the mailing list sign up form, right? The form. And then my subscribe buttons underneath. And then my social media buttons, right? Be like, oh, hey, also I'm on Twitter or whatever. I'm on Mastodon. I'm not on Mastodon. Mastodon is like if you go to a mall with 4 Starbucks and just tell your friends you're going to Starbucks and then you all go to different Starbucks. Like that's what Mastodon is to me.
That's it exactly.
Right? Yeah. Or I think I said it as like, I tweeted this, one of my most popular tweets, because none of them have to do with podcasting. I said, it's like you and your friends agreeing to go see a movie and then you all going to see the movie at different times. Like that's every Mastodon link I clicked on is like not the one that I have a Mastodon account for. So, anyway, a landing page is a way to get multiple calls to action into one request or multiple requests into one calls to action. And so there are a few tools for landing pages, right? Your host could be one. Buzzsprout creates a pretty nice looking page, but it's not customizable, right? So you can include links in the show notes, but I don't think for our purposes here, Buzzsprout especially is very good for this part. You could do WordPress, right? WordPress is a lot. If you already have a website and it's a WordPress site, by all means use WordPress or use whatever site builder you're already using. But if Buzzsprout is too cold, then I think WordPress is like too hot. There's like too much to think about if you just want a landing page. And then there's Carrd, CARRD. I think this is probably the best one for our purposes. It's like extraordinarily cheap. I think I pay $19 a year and I can have 10 landing pages with 10 custom domains. So I can essentially have like 10 websites. So I think that's like the Goldilocks solution for a lot of people. But there are some other options. Switchy.io. This is a funny one because this is a link shortener. So it's like Bitly, but it's a lot more powerful than Bitly. And as far as I know, there's still an AppSumo deal going on for it, like an AppSumo lifetime deal. It's one of the only AppSumo lifetime deals I've purchased that I actually use. And one of the cool things is it creates like a short link landing page for you. So if you go to joe.casa/links, for example, that's a Switchy page. And it allows for custom domains. And the thing I like about this is you could have a landing page for your podcast, and then you could also create easily speakable redirects for all of the show notes pages without having to do the stuff I've had to do, which is like install WordPress and then install a redirection plugin and then write my own redirection add-on for the redirection plugin so that when an episode is published, the redirect is already created automatically. Don't do that. I don't recommend that. With Switchy, you can point, your domain. So I have profitablepodcaster.fm. I could point that to a Switchy landing page if I want. And then I can, when a new episode of my podcast comes out, I can create a redirect inside Switchy, profitablepodcaster.fm/001 or 205 or whatever, to point to the episode show notes page, right? And so then that could be your call to action. But again, I've changed my mind on this a little bit. So your call to action could be like, sign up for my mailing list, check out the show notes over at, I usually say like it's how I built it.it and then the username or the it's how I built.it and then the episode number. So how I built.it/295 or whatever. So that's one way to do it. I really like Switchy. It's flexible enough for like a simple page like that. Another option is ConvertKit. I love ConvertKit for a lot of things. Their landing pages are very single focus on getting a mailing list sign up, which makes sense. But I would love if I could like add the buttons. You can add like links, like button links. I would like just a little more flexibility there. But I think if you're using ConvertKit and you have a custom domain associated with ConvertKit, that could also be a really good option. And they're rolling out a lot of stuff for those landing pages too. And then since I've mentioned custom domain a bunch of times, there's two I recommend. Hover.com. That's where like 95% of my domains are hosted. Or purchased. And then Namecheap.com is another one. Namecheap usually has a sale for like a deal on the first year you register a domain. So like I just registered a domain for $6 instead of the annual like $13 or maybe it was $8 instead of the annual $13. So I like Namecheap for that. Namecheap also does something that, well, you're not supposed to do as a domain registrar. Switchy, for example, has you update your domain in a certain way, and you're not supposed to do it this way, but Namecheap, I'm getting into the technical weeds here, but Namecheap is a little bit more flexible, but it's also like not the right way to do it. I still generally recommend Hover, because I really like Hover. It comes with automatic domain privacy. They don't try to hit you with a million upsells, which is really nice. And then you could like pay like, I think an extra like $5 a year for a domain forward or $5 a month for like a custom email address, which is nice. If you just want like a way for people to email you at your podcast's domain. So, again, I'm going to recommend Card. I think that gives you the most flexibility on their paid plan. You can also have like commerce, and it integrates with ConvertKit, or a bunch of other email service providers. It has like a podcast feed thing. Actually, it would probably be worth it for me to do a video in the playbook on Card at some point. So if Tom or Anna, if you or if somebody watching this replay wants to see that, let me know. But as far as creating the landing page, what should go on it, right? Title, description, and artwork, subscribe buttons, the mailing list form, episodes or the current episode, like either one is fine. If you're going to have a custom URL for each one, it should be the current episode, but a playlist of the episodes is also fine. And Buzzsprout allows you to embed, like, well, most hosts let you do this, but lets you like create an embeddable widget of like the most recent episodes right on the page. So like that's great. You have the episodes and then you have the action you want them to take. I think that's perfect. And then the host information, right? So stuff about you, because ultimately this mini podcast is about you, establishing you and your authority. And this is an opportunity for people to get to know you. And then contact information, whether that's an email address or a contact form or like the social handle you're most active on. So I think that's the stuff that should go on the landing page. Again, Card gives you a really good head start. I think I have a YouTube video on building a quick landing page with Card. It's not like a tour or anything like that, but I'll see if I can find that and include that in the resources for this this workshop. But that's what I think should go on it, and that's really it. I'm gonna leave the landing page part to you. I suspect that most people watching this probably already have a website in a way they like to do landing pages. If you don't let me know, I'm happy to talk you through it. And then also I'm going to have you record your call to action. So you hopefully have an episode in the tank already. I want you to record the call to action separately from an episode because, again, Buzzsprout, or the way I'm recommending you do it, is use a service that will bolt on the call to action to the beginning and the end. That way, if it ever changes, we can change it everywhere. So if you have a new resource or an updated resource, then you can include that there. Or you can include it across all of your episodes. We'll also explore, like, if you do an episode specifically on a topic and you have a content upgrade for that, you should be able to use a custom call to action for that one and not like change them all wholesale. I haven't tried exploring that, but you should be able to do that. So I'll double check before next week, but build your landing page. And again, there are lots of URL shorteners, but if you're using a page builder or a website builder, you could probably create the short URL that way. Otherwise, Switchy is a really good service for that sort of stuff. I really like it. So if you're interested, I can do that's like a technical part. I can create a quick demo on that. So next week we'll set up our Buzzsprout accounts and review the podcast launch checklist, because you're probably thinking you haven't chosen a name for your podcast. We haven't created artwork for your podcast. We'll talk through all of that next week, because as you might imagine, signing up for a Buzzsprout account is not going to take an hour. So we'll kind of talk through all of that as well. But that's it for this week. And now it is time for questions and hopefully some answers. Do you have any questions for me?
My question was, going to be around like the name, like naming it.
Yeah.
Just because if we're creating a landing page, like ideally it would be the name of the podcast, right? Like
you probably want to pick up that domain. Yeah, that's a really good question.
Yeah.
So there is a video in the playbook on this that I'll include. It's like under like the launch collection. But I think that when you're creating a name, you should it should be relevant to the topic, right? So some people are tempted to like make it like their name. But unless you're like a known quantity or commodity, no one's going to care about your name. So like I would definitely try to put the value proposition in that. Obviously, I've experimented, right, with like for Make Money Podcasting, it was called something different before that. Like pre-launch, it was called something. And then I thought Make Money Podcasting was clearer, and then I just realized that like the Profitable Podcaster is in general a better brand and doesn't pigeonhole me into only talking about making money. So you want to think through that. You can, there's like branding things, there's like branding considerations to make, but you could change it later.
Yeah.
The artwork too. So the main thing I would do before even checking to see if a domain is available is checking Apple Podcasts or Spotify to see if a show with that name already exists.
Right.
And trying to work on that part of it, right? I was shocked, for example, that the Profitable Podcaster, actually, the reason I didn't go with the Profitable Podcast, the reason I went with Profitable Podcaster is because there's a podcast just called Profitable. And so I didn't want confusion because I'm sure that host always says like, oh, check out my show. It's called Profitable Podcast or whatever.
Right.
So that's why I went with the Profitable Podcaster. And then I just kind of lucked into the fact that I feel like that's a better brand if I'm talking to individual podcasters. But that's the main thing I would do. And then after, if that name's available, right, I would see what domains are available. You have a little bit more flexibility. When it comes to domains, I try to get the .com, sometimes unsuccessfully, because 80% of people are going to try the .com first. Did my lights just change? What was that? And I try to make it less than 11 or 12 characters long for the name, for like without the .com.
Right.
But if it's like the full name of the show and it's not like cumbersome to type, like that's really what you're aiming for. You could also like get a short domain, like so you could pick up the full name domain and then pick up a short one. I think I have I have joe.casa, but I also have like podlift.me for like all of my short URLs. So like I thought about getting like profpod.com, but that's like hard to speak. It's not that much shorter, and it kind of makes it seem like I'm Professor Podcast. Yeah. So like there's considerations to make there, but
Yeah.
you could mess around with that a little bit more than you can mess around with, is there a podcast already with this name?
Yeah.
And that doesn't stop people. Like there's a couple of How I Built It's or How I Built This Is or That's. But that's the main thing I would look for.
Okay.
And then there is a video on creating artwork. I recommend Canva because it's like super easy.
Yeah.
They say that faces work best. I don't have, when I put my face on the How I Built It artwork, I saw a drop in downloads, and I don't know if that was just timing or what, but my face didn't work on the artwork.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, the other thing I would do is like look at, because you're gonna have to choose a category, right? I think there's like health and wellness or fitness. I would look through like the top 200 and see what kind of the artwork trends are.
Yeah.
You want to find this balance of like doing what is trendy, but also standing out.
Yeah.
So,
I understand that.
yeah. My artwork for How I Built It came from Design Pickle. I paid for a few months of their service at like $500 a month, and they let you submit like unlimited requests for stuff. And so over the course of a couple of months, I had them basically rebrand a bunch of stuff for me. And then I stopped paying for it because it was an okay service, but
Yeah.
I don't,
I mean, yeah, I designed one the other day on Canva.
Oh, nice.
I kind of just went with what I liked of like the podcast I listened to, but yeah, just pulling up health and wellness, it's similar.
Nice.
So
Cool.
All right.
All right. Tom, any questions from you?
No, I was surprised you mentioned using Card. I just created my website using that, and I
Nice.
was really surprised with how cheap it was, and for how many multiple domains there are that you could, that you could set up 10 different ones and so forth.
Yeah, it's really shocking, which like kind of tells me that like hosting most of the time is like a sham, right? Uh, like if you're hosting like a static site, like it's not very expensive. Like it gets expensive when you're doing like e-commerce stuff or whatever. But yeah, so like they're hosting like static websites essentially, web pages. So yeah, it's like $19 a year for 10, and they were just, I don't know if they're still running this deal as I speak this and as people who are watching the recording, but they did like 40% off if you renewed for another year. And so like my plan was up in January, but I paid $11 and now it's like up in January 24. So like I'm really hard pressed to recommend something different that is going to be as good at the price point. So
Yeah, and then ConvertKit, I'd signed up with them long ago for different things that I never got off the ground, but I do have an account with them to do for email, newsletters and things like that, which again I haven't done anything with, but the account's there, and I do have it linked to Card, so fingers crossed that'll work out for me.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm ConvertKit like really has won me over the last few years. Now they have a free plan too, which is because that was tough for a lot of people. I think their starting plan was like $15 a month.
Mm-hmm.
But now they have a free plan if you're like not doing the automations and stuff. Which if you're just building a list at first, that's perfectly fine. So awesome. Well, what I will do, next week's our last week. Tier. This has been great though. Like I know it's been like a small group, but like I appreciate both of you like showing up and letting me like test this content. Like next time I'll probably build in a let's come up with the name and artwork portion. Maybe like a web presence portion. Maybe we could put it at the beginning when we sign up for Buzzsprout. Like I'm totally open to feedback. But yeah, I hope this has been really good for you. I'll see if I can find the card video or like make a new card video. And then I also have a couple videos on like how to point a custom domain to ConvertKit as well, which is if you're unfamiliar with DNS, it can be scary. At this point, I have done so many breaking things with domains that it scares me a lot less now. So yeah. Yeah.
I do have a question for you.
Yeah.
Just a regular like housekeeping question.
Yeah.
I know you said that you sent the email late, but I didn't get one at all, so I don't know.
Oh, you didn't get one
for week 3.
Oh, well, I'm psyched you showed up then still. So you didn't get. Can you check your spam filter?
I did. Yeah, I don't see it in the spam either. Which is weird.
Yeah. I changed
you sent it this morning?
I sent it this morning around 8ish, maybe 8:30. Yeah. It came from joe@casabona.org instead of joe@creatorcourses.com.
Right. The only thing I have from you today is the 5 better ways to gauge podcast success, like the regular.
Oh, email. So that one came, but that came from Joe at Creator Courses.
Creator Courses, yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's happening, but yes, I did not get it, and it's not in my junk. But I do have I have like a quarantine, because I have like high security, so it might be in there. So I gotta go on GoDaddy and look, so I can let you know.
Yeah, keep me posted because I specifically did it for this cohort because it's just like 20 people.
Yeah.
And like
I figured because you had sent it every week. I was like, weird, I didn't get an email. But I just clicked on. I had the link in my calendar.
Awesome.
And the other question too, I don't know if you saw it. I did leave a comment with the script link for my first draft of a first episode.
Oh, no, I did not see
So,
that.
in
Sweet.
the rough outline. I actually I was traveling all week between the last call and this call for work, and I was like, I don't want that to be a limitation of why I didn't record, because I'm not by my new mic and stuff, and I was originally going to do video podcast too, but I was like, you know what, I'm just going to try it out. And I actually recorded it on my voice memos in the car driving to a client's house, and I did the studio sound, and it's like mind-blowing at how good
It's like
it
wild,
sounds.
right?
So wild. So yeah.
Oh,
it's there.
yeah, here's the first
Yeah.
episode. Yeah, why didn't I see this?
Mm-hmm.
I guess everyone's having email problems. So
Yeah,
this
so I
week.
don't know what but yes, I thought I'd let you know that it's
December 13th. Okay, so this is like 36-ish
yesterday-
hours
no.
ago.
Yeah, yesterday
Yeah,
morning-ish.
cool. Where are you located? Are you on the East Coast?
I'm in San Diego.
Oh, okay.
But yes, this last week I was Philadelphia and then Seattle.
Okay.
So kinda all
Oh,
over.
you were like in my neck of the woods last week.
Yeah, you're in Philly.
Just
area?
outside Philly, yeah.
Oh
cool.
yeah. I work with some of the guys on the Eagles, so
Nice.
I'm there every other week, pretty much right
Did
now.
you help them beat the Giants? Because it was like a pretty gross loss this week. I'm a
Yeah,
Giants fan, and I'm like, oh, this
right?
is
That's tough. Sorry.
yeah.
I
They're
do.
well,
I know. I
they're
felt
too good.
bad. I was
Yeah.
like, one of my athletes too is on the Giants, and I had posted something about the Eagles winning and clinching their
Yeah, playoff
playoffs
berth.
or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, that was insensitive to him, but also like he probably is not watching my Instagram.
Yeah,
so.
right. I mean, that's definitely not the worst thing that somebody
It's
said.
just sports, right?
Yeah,
Like,
right. It's
somebody's gotta
sports.
win,
Yeah.
somebody's gonna lose.
Yeah, exactly. So, and if the Giants beat the Commanders this week, I think they'll clinch a playoff berth too. So,
Yeah.
so fingers crossed for that we don't end in a
Right.
tie again. Awesome. Okay, yeah. So I'll check this out and I'll post my feedback. And then yeah, so next week we'll kind of talk about, we'll sign up for Buzzsprout, and then we'll kind of go through like, I'll flesh out the naming stuff a little bit. And we'll talk about kind of tying it all together.
Okay.
Awesome. But thank you both for coming. I appreciate your time, and I will
Thank you.
I'll see you next week.
All right, thanks.
Bye.